So I want to talk about the plight of men that are losing women because they're having serious conversations. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, serious conversations tend to come in where you've been dating a woman for a while and you start to notice various things that are starting to frustrate you. And rather than apply patience, rather than wait to see if maybe it's a test, or rather than, just kind of talk to her and figure out, hey, what's going on in a way that's more jovial, sometimes as men, we think, okay, in order for this behavior to stop, in order to really figure out what her feelings are, whatnot, I need to sit down with her and have a logical, serious conversation about whatever it is. And once I had this logical, serious conversation, she's going to turn around and she's going to suddenly be the woman that I want her to be. She's going to recognize that she's doing X, Y, and Z to me, and things are going to be great. The problem is, hypothetically, you could have a serious conversation with somebody that you're in a relationship with, that's your actual girlfriend, wife, fiance, whatever. And by that time, she has enough time with you to where those kind of conversations aren't going to turn her off or deter her from wanting to be with you. But when you first start dating a woman, trying to have a serious conversation is a death knell, and it is something that is going to dry her up immensely. Because in the beginning, there's a reason why the first part of the dating phase is called the honeymoon phase, because that's the time when your feelings for each other are supposed to be really, really high. And ideally, there's not a lot of conflicts or arguments coming up. And so this kind of environment helps to foster good feelings about you. So that way, down the road, when things start to pop up that you guys have to have conversations about, because you guys had that time period where she was able to solidify her feelings with nothing but good feelings, then these serious conversations later on aren't going to make her turn you away at the first sign of trouble. But early on, when you have not yet built that up, all these serious conversations do is make you look needy in some cases. It makes you look like a guy that's going to be a bit of a fusser or arguer altogether. It makes you look like a guy that's in his feelings. It makes you look like a guy that's trying to force her to feel, be, do, or act in ways that she doesn't quite yet want to because it's not of her choosing, and it can cause her to be turned off. So what I'm going to do for you guys today is I'm going to go into the 5 types of serious conversations that you need to avoid at all costs when you first start dating a woman. So here's the first one. The first serious conversation to avoid is any kind of texting argument. And actually, this is good advice in general throughout the course of your relationship. Texting arguments are never going to ever get you to have the woman look at you in a positive light. For one, when you're trying to argue, think about how many words you want to say to somebody in real life when you're trying to argue with them. Unfortunately for us, we tend to then try to do that same thing over text to where you see like a long paragraph that you're typing up and the woman's looking at this like, oh my God, this is a lot coming at me at one time. And also to the fact that a text is documented proof of a time when you had negative feelings or argumentative feelings towards her. So now, every time she's scrolling through her text log, at some point she's gonna come across that you guys had this major argument at one point and it's all there on text. Also, if you guys break up or something happens later down the line, she may decide to use the same text against you. She may try to take a screenshot of it and post it. You don't know. But the point is, you don't need it to happen in the first place, because any kind of hypothetical disagreement you guys have, you should be saving all those conversations for in person. Now, obviously, we're going to talk later on about not having serious conversations in the first part of your relationship. But what I mean is that even with that, regardless of what the situation is, if she comes to you and says, hey, I'm having an issue with you, and she's trying to text it to you, make it a phone call. Say, hey, babe, I hear you. Let's meet in person. But do not leave that on text, okay? But more to the point, a lot of times what guys will do in terms of texting is they'll do this thing where a woman has been texting him for a while and it's been going good back and forth. And then all of a sudden, the texts start to slow down. So rather than wait and say, okay, you know what? We've been texting each other since we started dating and it's been like 4 days now. And I've been texting her back to back to back. Maybe she needs a break. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she has other stuff going on to where she can't rely as fast as she normally has. Instead of that thought process, we think, what's going on? Well, I need to double text her and see if she's okay. So then we start texting, are you okay? Is something wrong? Why aren't you texting back and responding? And doing these kind of texts, I know you're thinking, again, if I just logically let her know that her not texting me back is bothering me, then it's going to allow her to text me back. What it actually does is make a woman look at you like you're obsessed with her and that you're needy and that for whatever reason, she's never going to be able to get any time to herself if she's with you because all you can do is constantly text her as if you need her attention nonstop. And those kind of signals are the kinds of conversations that are going to make women be like, you know what? I'm going to go on to the next guy. So that's the first one. The second serious conversation you need to avoid at all costs is calling her out on her behaviors. And this is where, let's say you ask a woman on a date and she says like, oh, sure, when do you want to go? And then you text her back and she doesn't text you back after that. Or let's say you were supposed to go on a date with her and you guys set a date and time, and then you show up and she doesn't show up. You may be thinking, okay, this thing happened, and so I need to call her out. I need to let her know that her behavior is unacceptable and how dare she, and if this continues on. And all those conversations do is put you in like the daddy role. It makes you the parent. It puts you in a position to, as if you're trying to be her authority on something. And more importantly, calling a woman out on her behavior that she already knows she's doing is redundant. Like you're thinking for the most part, oh, this woman doesn't know that she's not texting me back as fast as she used to. Oh, this woman doesn't know that she's flaking on this date, and she doesn't know how much it's hurting my feelings. And the thing is this, even if she did know, the reality is she doesn't care, because she's most likely in this thing to be able to feel the feels that she needs to feel. And so if she's not feeling a connection with you, no amount of you calling her out on her behavior is going to make her want to turn around and act right toward you. Women that genuinely like you and want to keep you around are going to already be doing behaviors that let you know unequivocally how they feel about you. They're going to respect you because they don't want you to have any kind of misread that they don't that think highly of you. And so if women start doing things that indicate that they aren't being respectful and that they aren't really like thinking highly of you, it's because they don't. And most likely they're trying to slink away. But even if let's say they were doing some stuff and like it was bugging you and annoying you, and it could be hinting that they're trying to get away from you. I have found that not being so quick to try to call out behaviors or to assume that they're doing certain things as a means to try to hurt me usually works better in my favor. Because you also got to realize that when you have a high like for a woman and there's any kind of sign that she's slightly pulling away, our brains are going to automatically think, oh my God, why is she doing this thing? And then our ego is going to be like, wait. Maybe she's just not aware that she's doing this thing. If I just tell her this thing, I'm such a nice guy, she's not going to want to treat me mean. So if I'm going to tell her this thing and call her out on this thing, she's going to treat me a whole lot better. And again, for the first 3 months of dating, there shouldn't be any kind of behavior that she's doing that would require to be called out. So if that's happening, then on the off chance that is happening, you don't have to feel the need to like call her out. If she's not texting you back as fast as she did before, well, again, that could be a test to see if maybe you're going to be too active in trying to constantly try to have her around all the time, or that you're a controlling guy or whatever. If you just kind of lean back and be like, okay, she's going to act that way, I'm going to be over here or whatever, I find most women will either stop testing you or they'll straighten up and fly right. Because just you pulling your attention away from them, if they have any behaviors they're displaying that would look like it's possibly trying to push you away, by you just going away and leaving it alone, usually women will be able to decide, okay, this guy looks like he's not trying to control me, and now I actually kind of want him around, so let me just stop doing that bull crap. But calling out women for that has never actually been a thing that has worked, and so I would advise against it. As you get later into your relationship and those things start to pop up, that's a good time to start saying, hey, babe, you did this thing, and this is how I reacted to it, and this is why, and yada, yada, yada. But if you're not in a relationship, if she does something and you get pissed off, like date 2 or date 3, she's going to know this is not the guy for me, and bounce. The third conversation you need to avoid altogether is the feelings conversation. Now, this starts to happen with guys a lot of times where after the second or third date, you guys have had some makeout sessions, you may have even hooked up, but somehow she's not coming to you asking you, hey, can I be your girlfriend, or are we going to be together, or whatever. And as guys, we tend to assess very quickly whether or not we want to date with a girl. And sometimes, honestly, our quick assessments are not accurate, because we're thinking after 2 or 3 good dates and some hookup sessions, yeah, this is the girl for me. I already know that I like her. And we're looking at her thinking, why hasn't she come to me and made that decision? Why hasn't she come to me and said, hey, I want to be with you too? Like, what's the deal? We've had 3 good dates. We spent a whole 12 hours together in our entire lifetime. Like, why isn't she ready to be in a relationship? And so in the course of that, we think, you know what? I just need to tell her my feelings. If I let her know just how much I like her and think about her and care about her and want to be with her, then she's going to know that I care about her so much, she can't help but feel those same things back. And so we'll go on date 3 or 4 and say, okay, well, hey, just, like, I really admire you and I really care for you. And gosh, should I say the L word? I think I love you. And we think that's going to turn them around and have them say the same things back to us. So basically, we're telling them our feelings because we want validation that they like us at the same level that we like them. The problem is, if a woman is not there yet, then you trying to have a serious conversation about feelings is only going to result in her coming back to you and saying, well, I don't think we can be together. And you're going to be thinking, but wait, I thought she liked me. Why is she saying suddenly we can't be together? And the reason is because a lot of women will think like this. They'll think, well, he's saying he already likes me. He's already at that level where he's ready to be in a relationship. This is date 3 for me. I like the guy. I'm still trying to figure out my feelings, but right now it appears as though the level of like he currently has for me in our dating journey is not the same. And I don't want to waste his time because I don't know if I'll ever actually get there. Like, I thought I was on the path towards getting there, but he's already beat me to the finish line, and I don't know at what point I'll get to that finish line. So to not waste his time anymore, I got a jet. And also, honestly, for most women, being around a guy that they know likes them a lot more than they do at the level where they're at that point in time is really kind of like an off-putting thing for women. So this is why I tell you guys, even if by date 3 or 4, you've already figured out in your head, I want to be with this woman, this is the one for me. That's great. You go on her timeline. You wait until she starts expressing feelings of love and grandeur and I think you're so great and you're special and I love being around you and you have a great mind, yada, yada, yada. You let her be the first one to verbalize her feelings. What you do is you show your feelings through actions. You ask for dates, you compliment her on her outfits, you hug her, you touch her. You do these actionable things that will give the idea to her that you have feelings, because women read into men 3 times more than we read into them. So while we're trying to figure them out, they know if we come and approach them and kiss them on the cheek that we probably have a heightened level of interest for them. So it doesn't have to be said. But when you start verbalizing feelings, again, they're going to feel things 3 times more than we do. So if you're saying a feeling, she's taking it to mean that that feeling you have is 3 times bigger than you're saying it is, and she can't handle it yet because she's not there, all right? So no more serious conversations about feelings. Leave that up to her. And when she starts bringing up feelings, if she starts giving these big speeches about how much she feels about you, again, she's going to feel whatever you say 3 times as big. You ain't got to go that deep. You can, if she's saying, hey, I just want to know that I really care about you and appreciate you and admire you, you can just say, oh, that's great. I like you a lot too, babe. That's it. That's all you got to say. And she will be on the moon for the rest of the day. All right? That's the third thing. The fourth serious conversation you need to avoid with women at all costs is the whole, where is this relationship going and what are we conversation? Now, to clarify, you do want to have this conversation at the point that she brings it to your attention, just like the feelings conversation. So for you guys out there that are like, you've been a month in with a girl and you're sitting there scrambling like, well, it's been a month and we're not in a relationship. What am I going to do? And you think, okay, I'm going to go up to her and say, hey, so what are we? And are we in a relationship? My friends are asking, yada, yada, yada. Again, you already know where your feelings are at. You already know what you want to do. She may need more time figuring it out, because chances are in her lifetime, she's rushed into relationships with guys that were abusive, that were needy, that were narcissists. And so she knows as much as she likes you at the end of month 1, she might want to do a little bit more due diligence to see if you're reliable, if you're consistent, if you're trustworthy. A month's time is not really a long time in the grand scheme of a relationship, especially when you're talking about being with somebody for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You having to rush to get her in that first month is not necessary. Give her the time that she needs to really solidify in her mind that she has feelings for you, that she can trust you, that she desires you, that she's been with you consistently enough to where she realizes that her feelings are not going to go away. At which point, when that happens for a woman, she is going to start thinking, I like this guy a lot. In fact, I'm starting to darn near love him and I don't want him to go away, but I'm not sure how he feels about me or if he wants this thing to be beyond just us hooking up and going on dates. So now I got to go to him. And what's funny? I go on Reddit every day and I read so many things where I see women say, well, I've been dating him for 2 or 3 months and we've done X, Y, and Z and these actions and this action. We've hooked up and I've done this and that and he's doing these things, but I don't know what to do because we're not in a relationship and I need to know how to get into it. That's the point that you want a woman to get to with you, because any woman that has high interest in you, she's going to see you as a unicorn, and she's not going to let that unicorn get away. So let her bring the conversation to you. And at the point that she does, again, you ain't got to make it a super serious conversation. You ain't got to get into, well, babe, I know you're feeling some things, and I also feel like, our love is so deep and passionate, blah, blah. No. She's going to come to you. Hey, so I just want to know, what are we? Because, we've been dating for a while. And I just want to know what it is. And you can just be like, oh, babe, yeah, you know what? I like you a lot too. You know what? What are you thinking this thing should be? Should we make it official? Should we just go ahead and get married? Oh no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. But maybe you want a title of some kind. Like, what does that look like to you? Like, make it a fun conversation and a fun event. Don't make it this serious tone, monotonous, overly sappy, overly emotional conversation that could actually end up turning off, making her think like, oh man, I knew I really liked him, but now he seems like he's been kind of hiding it from me, and now it's just like, oh, he's really being overly obsessed with this emotional stuff. Like, oh, did I make the right choice? Like, don't be that guy either, all right? And then the fifth serious conversation that you don't want to have with a woman ever is the post-breakup conversation. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this where, let's say you've been dating a girl for like a month and a half, and then she comes to you and says, hey, so, I've really enjoyed our time dating, but I'm not feeling the chemistry, and I don't really see this going any further. What a lot of guys will try to do is go into the whole, oh no, baby, please don't leave me. Oh, but I feel so these great things for you. I thought we could be so good together. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Why would you? And that I found also works against you, because you might have a woman that might have been thinking, for example, well, I do like him, but I feel like he's maybe texting me too much, or he's around too much, and I'm starting to feel like he's a little too needy. And so I think I need to err on the side of just kind of like pushing that back, or scaling it back, or saying we need a break, or we need time away from each other. And when woman's feeling that thing, again, she's having a strong feeling about something. It isn't necessarily a logical thing. She's just feeling these things that indicate that she needs to have you be away. At the point that you come in and try to argue, now you're forcing your will upon her for you guys to be together, and that can make her any kind of feeling that she may have had left for you just drop. Versus if she comes to you, same conversation. Hey, so I'm not really feeling the chemistry, and I think it's best if whatever, yada yada. If you just say, okay, cool, well, best of luck to you. Or, well, it was cool, it was fun while it lasted, but, hey, best endeavors to you, and, nothing but well wishes. I had a great time too. That sometimes can make a woman start to feel less pressure. Like if she was feeling before that she was being pressured to date you, now you've thrown in this curveball. Well, it's like, oh, he's not forcing me at all. He's not saying I gotta stay. He's not crying over me. Like, oh, that's a relief. And then they start thinking, but crap, now it's my choice. Did I make the right decision to leave? Do I actually want to stay around? Like, what's going on? And that's not to say that's always going to happen. But the point is that whether a woman decides to stay with you, or whether she decides it's in her best interest to leave you, you do not need to be the guy that is still trying to beg for her attention, trying to overcompliment her all of a sudden, trying to tell her that you love her so much and please don't go and all this other stuff. Because, again, that is not a thing that is going to change a woman's mind. You err on the side of being indifferent to things, and being indifferent, I found, that's simply saying, hey, whether you decide to stay or leave, my life's gonna be good. If you decide to stay, hey, I'd love to have you around in it because I'm gonna be doing a lot of great things, I'm gonna be going places, but if you decide not to be in it, you know what, no harm, no foul, I'll find somebody else that wants to be on this pony show with me, and best of luck to you, okay? But serious conversations in those first 3 months of dating that involve anything involving texting arguments, involving calling out on behavior, calling out on trying to have a feelings conversation, on trying to ask about a relationship, and about trying to, overly beg somebody to stay with you who doesn't want to. None of these things are going to help you keep a woman around. So stop doing them. Learn to be a bit more indifferent in your communication with women, and ultimately learn how to be confident and recognize that, hey, these first few months of dating are going to be the best you get. And so err on the side of making it a fun experience. If you just focus on making time to have fun with a woman and giving her the best experience possible, and steer away from serious conversations that can bring down the fun, it introduces negativity into a relationship and can ultimately be a downer and cause her feelings to go away for you. Focus on the fun aspect of things, focus on fun conversations. If things start to arise that look like she's trying to push you away, or that she's not responding the same way she did before, again, apply patience, recognize that she has a life outside of you, and go about your life still as if these things are not bothersome things. Because if they're not bothersome to you, you can't have serious conversations. She'll continue to see you as that fun guy that she's happy to get to know. And more often than not, she's going to want to stick around.